hear your motive for bringing you here.
You trying to whisk me away with you, huh?
Something like that.
Hello everyone, Danny here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review of the new Netflix film, The Union. This movie is rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes. And as of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score of 44% from the critics, 31% from the audience, and a Letterboxd average rating of 2.2. So as you can see, this film is not being very well received. I can definitely understand why. It is odd that the critics is higher than the audience. I think that definitely gives you a bit of a discrepancy as to like what's going on. But yeah, this film, we'll get into it into the review, but it feels like something that doesn't really add anything new. It doesn't really have much to say. It's just something that, I don't want to call it content because I know a lot of people worked really hard on this film. But it really does feel like a little bit dull when it's trying to come out. So in this film, we see a New Jersey construction worker who goes from regular guy to aspiring spy when his long-lost high school sweetheart recruits him for an espionage mission. This movie stars Mark Wahlberg as Mike, Halle Berry as Roxanne, J.K. Simmons as Tom Brennan, Mike Coulter as Nick Faraday, Alice Lee as Athena, Adwale Akinoye Abaje as Frank, and Jackie Earl Haley as Foreman. I was really glad to see some of these people. Like I hadn't seen him in projects in a long time. Specifically, like Jackie Earl Haley. Like his role. He had a big standout role in Watchmen. Then he also tried to do the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot that was not very successful. So it's really good to see him. It's good to see a lot of people still working. Mike Coulter as well. He was Netflix's Power Man. So it's very interesting to see him back working at a Netflix thing. But let's talk about this film, The Union. Netflix's latest foray into the action thriller genre. This is a film that doesn't stray far from a formulaic playbook. It's packed with all the regular and familiar tropes that have become synonymous with modern action films. But unfortunately, it brings little to the table that feels fresh or innovative. From the outset, it is clear that The Union is aiming for broad appeal. However, like many recent Netflix releases, the film's lengths become a detriment. I think this film is too long. It should not be that close to 2 hours. This feels unnecessarily bloated. There are several sequences that could be easily either trimmed or maybe shortened without losing any of the narrative impact. This excess contributes to the pacing that often drags, making the film feel longer than it needs to be. There were multiple times where I would check to see how long we had been in the movie, and only like 30 minutes had passed, and I was like, oh my goodness. The action sequences are very serviceable, delivering the requisite explosions, chases, shootouts that one would expect. However, they do lack a little bit of that thrill or the creative flair that might elevate them beyond mere adequacy. It's all competently done, but there's nothing here that will leave the audiences either talking about it the next day or maybe on the edge of their seats. One of the film's saving graces, it's that it does have a twist. While it's not hard to see it coming, it is executed well enough to be satisfying. The twist injects a bit of life into the narrative just when it starts to feel a little bit on the wonky side. But it's not enough to redeem the film. I think the cast does what they can with the material. To me, Mike Coulter is a standout. Coulter brings charisma and gravitas to his role and just really elevates any scene that he's in, the interactions that he has throughout the film. To me, he stole kind of the film from the leads, which are Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg. Unfortunately, the leads themselves just struggle to find them like chemistry with each other, which is a significant issue as the film kind of hinges on their dynamic. Their interactions, they lack spark. They needed to make the audience care a little bit more about the journey and the stakes, leaving the emotional core of the film somewhat hollow. It's really, even the vision or the mission of the movie, it's really hollow itself. There's a MacGuffin that needs to go from one place to the other, and that's kind of really all we are given. Ultimately, this movie is not entertaining enough to justify its runtime. It's a fine movie to have on the background while you're doing something else, maybe, and that's exactly what Netflix probably intends. As a passive viewing experience, I think it works. But the film, if it's meant to engage and thrill, it falls short. It is not terrible. It is not memorable. I think that's the biggest flaw, unfortunately. It is definitely something that you will probably pull out your phone a couple of times. But I think Netflix is fine with that. So, but I don't think anybody sits out to make a movie like that. So, if you disagree or if you enjoy this film, first of all, I'm glad that you did. But let me know in the comment what were some of the things that make you enjoy this film. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so when we go live, that is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.